Hey, we are live. Hello, everybody. This is, well, for Mike and I, this is our second live stream today. We did one at 2:40 this afternoon about the brain, but we have our monthly. I was joking. This is our monthly Wednesday, 6:15 to 6:45 interview, except that it's a Tuesday that Fernando pointed out to me. Uh, but Fernando and I met over 10, 12 years ago at a yoga studio. He's become one of my best friends. He's my favorite yoga instructor in the world. He's personally trained my son Hayden. Um, his son also plays soccer for Kearney Thistle. All sorts of good stuff. So um, before we begin, Mike, do you have anything to say?
Nope. Just looking forward to hearing what Fernando has to say tonight. Share with us.
Uh, all righty. So this number one question, and we've talked about this many times before, Fernando. You have a unique perspective on pain, a unique perspective on movement, for the body to heal, human performance. Can you kind of wrap that into your story and how you became who you are today?
Yeah, I mean I guess the my big sort of introduction to pain happened pretty early when I was hit by a car, and I've had you know lots of accidents, a few surgeries that went back to back, and was in chronic pain for years, literally, and was on all kinds of pain medication, and I realized that pain is a difficult sort of stimulus because we've called it a bad thing. We've sort of put it in the negative category, as if we even say like we're avoiding pain and we're seeking pleasure. And really, those things come together. You can't avoid one to get the other. They come in pairs. And I realized that pain is one of our greatest tools. It is an alarm that goes off, that needs to be understood, that needs to be really experienced fully. And I think that when I was, in my darkest days, in round the clock pain, I kept trying to avoid it. I kept trying to find a pill for it or a distraction or something, and the pain just persisted. And so what we resist will persist. And so until I started to really get closer to the pain and try to slow everything down and try to prioritize the pain. So pain to me is pay attention in now. So it's, where is the pain? It's in my neck, it's in my back, it's in my hip. Okay, let me sit with it. Let me breathe directly into the pain. Let me get closer to it. Let me describe it. The texture, the temperature. And the more I can get in touch with my pain, the more I can describe it's sharp, it's burning, it's cold. If I can describe it, I can detach from it. I can actually start to understand a little bit more. And the more closer you get to the pain, the less it scares you, the less it impacts you. And in fact, I'm in pain quite often. I still have a lot of tightness from a right leg that was cut in half and then lengthened internally with a magnet. So the pain doesn't go away. It actually becomes this this alarm that is my number one concern. I can't do anything well if I'm trying to do it through pain, right? So what I do is I manage the pain first, and I address my breath, I address my posture. If when I wake up, if something hurts, that's the first thing I tackle, where it hurts. And then, everything that follows becomes a little bit more manageable. And fortunately for me, I had so much pain, right? There was so much pain in such a short amount of time that everything else since has been so easy to tolerate. So it's almost like a crutch. When I go to a yoga class, I'm actually sometimes looking for pain. Like, this is too easy unless there's pain. And so, ironically, Noah, I'm actually trying to not always look for the pain now because I've gotten so used to it. But the cool flip is that pain no longer angers me, and that was a big crutch. I would get angry, I would get frustrated, and it would spill into everything: other people, other scenarios, work, socializing rather. It's hard to be friendly if you're in pain. So when I realized that, oh, okay, pain is not a bad thing, pain is not something to get angry about, pain is something to be grateful for. Say, if you feel nothing, you're dead, right? So if you feel pain, you're still alive, and that means that there's still more to do. And I really found gratitude for pain, that it encourages me to move. If I'm hurting, I don't sit down. Yeah, I know I've rambled, so I don't even know if I answered your question.
You know, for that, I was laughing. I was thinking about you a lot today for a variety of reasons. One, because I know you have a lot of tattoos, and I know you've also talked about the pain in tattoos. I got 2 tattoos this afternoon, and my God, cannot believe. And it's not I have like 8 or 9 tattoos, but I was in so much pain today, and I was just thinking about you during the whole thing about how you enjoy tattoos because of the pain. Ugh.
Well, that's an interesting point. Is I loved tattoos, and because here's the irony, I chose the location of the pain. So I would go into a tattoo artist's shop, but my back was hurting, right? I had 2 back surgeries, 2 hip surgeries, 2 knee surgeries, right? So when I got there, I was already in pain, and I was in pain that I didn't ask for, that I didn't want. But when I sat down at the tattoo shop, I picked where it was going to be painful. And because that pain was so intense in the moment, that I didn't feel back pain, that I didn't feel hip pain. And not feeling that was a relief. Was that, wow. Because that's the thing, we're not supposed to feel something forever, right? All feelings are good, all emotions are good. But if you have them forever, if you have them prolonged, then there's this anger, because things need to move, right? Not just body, but feelings, emotions. And when something becomes chronic, it's because it's gone on too long and I'm sick of it. And unfortunately, or fortunately, pain is something that you'll keep re-experiencing. So if we keep getting angry about it, and we keep getting frustrated about it, and we know it's an inevitability, then we're perpetually fucking miserable. But if we flip the switch and we accept that, hey, pain is a positive thing that I need to understand better, that I need to literally hold its hand instead of running away from it. And it's just like I say all the time, we go to the gym and we don't say I'm in pain from the gym, we say I'm sore. And I'm sore from the gym. It's still pain, but because we've picked very particular words, and this is why words are so powerful, because the word itself is what creates that feeling. And so if I start saying all my pain is simply soreness, I have soreness that I need to manage, right? It's not that, oh man, I got this horrible pain in my hip and now I'm unlucky. And now, fuck, I got this thing and I get this crutch and man, I'm just trying to beat it up. Instead, just trying to accept that that's the body's intention to let you know you are not moving that hip. You are not bending enough. You are not breathing enough. And that reprioritizes our life, because we're outside our bodies all the time. We're just working, we're dealing with the kids, we're dealing with whatever, but very rarely are we prioritizing our posture, our breath, our movements, our gait when we walk, the way we plan our feet. We're not thinking about that stuff, and that's the most important stuff. And so when I'm in pain, I know that I'm screwing up something. There's something that I've been avoiding, and the pain reminds me to get back here. Pay attention in now. Start breathing better, deeper. Start adjusting your posture, start moving. You probably haven't worked out, or you probably haven't walked, or something like that. And so because I have this real acceptance and gratitude for pain, and I love that I have my legs back and I can move. And that's another thing. Sometimes we don't realize how lucky we are until something gets taken away from us. And because I was on the couch for 3 years and literally couldn't walk, the second that I got that ability back, it was like, I'm not taking this for granted. If you know me, you know that I have a hard time just sitting down to watch a movie, because I like to move. And honestly, it's kept me fit. It's kept me happy. And it keeps me motivated.
All right. So the two people on the phone right now, Mike, you, and Fernando. I've learned more from you two about the words you choose and how you say things, more from both of you than anybody else on the planet. And you just started touching that topic about words and how you use things and how you say things and your meanings and being careful. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that the word itself will create a memory or an idea or a feeling. And so because people have their own memories and their own experiences, it's getting sort of harder and harder to find the right words for different people, because sometimes people hear things differently. Or I recently did a keynote speaking at a school, and growing up, the word home, mom, dad, they didn't really give me support and security. Right. So those kind of words actually gave me a little fear. I was scared at home. I was anxious at home. Like there was going to be a fight. Right. So I preferred, school. School was good. Teacher was good. Coach was safe. Right. So the words come with such powerful meanings that sometimes it's hard, because I don't know what the individual I'm talking to's experience is. So, I try to speak very positively, because that's how I truly feel. I feel positive. I feel that we're lucky to be in bodies. That's a good thing. And I also speak in ways that don't limit. You know that the word can't is like a cuss word in my house. And so I'm like really actually trying to diffuse the bomb of words by actually tackling letters. And I've talked to you about that in a little bit. But I can spell a word in English, and just seeing a word, literally just the sight of a word, can evoke feeling, right? But if I jumble the letters around and it's a different language, they mean nothing to you, right? So it's very specific on how we're under a spell, literally, because if we spell it, now something is going to give us a feeling. But if we can deconstruct our words, really, and think about the words are made up of letters. How can a word be super powerful if we haven't studied the letter? It's like building a house with sticks, right? How can the house have a good foundation if we haven't used powerful letters? And the interesting thing is, when I went to Hawaii, and I've been studying, obviously, yoga and ancient scripts, they're heavy on the vowels. Their words are almost all vowels. The Hawaiian state fish is called the trigger fish, but in Hawaiian, it's the humu humu nuku nuku apu a. Wild, right? And the vowels, you can't even make a word without a vowel. It seems that the vowels are somehow more important than the other letters. And our English language is very consonant dominated. The word stress is one tiny E strangled by consonants, right? That word by itself, oh, man, just seeing that word, right? One little bit of energy, little tiny E, tons of consonants. And I think if we start looking at our letters and understand each one, like the A is a circle with a wall in front of it. Oh, it hit a wall. That's no. That's the first thing you learn. Boundaries. What I allow, what I deny. And guess what B is? Boom. The wall's behind me now, so it's yes. What I accept. Right? Then there's C. There's a little crack. You know what C is? Light. That's why they call it C. And guess what the opposite of light is? Boom. Here's a wall. Another wall back in front of your little circle. That's dark. And so if we look at the letters and then we look at a word, we can actually learn more about what's happening if we give the letters more credo, if we give the letters a little bit more power. So I'm working on creating some workshops and classes where each letter is a dominant meaning with a movement. Because this A, this letter A, this is our superficial front line, right? We're held together. Our skeleton is being held together by cords, literally. And the strings get tighter, we start looking down. Hamstrings, we call it, literally a string. People say, you got to unwind. So when our strings get tight, we start to build these defenses. And then we are not allowing connection. And then we get sad, we get angry, we get lonely. And so I'm trying my best to start diffusing the bomb that is words and actually get to the shape, because they're just shapes. And you can see the alphabet's round in the beginning and then it's pointy at the end. And so yoga is shapes too, right? Learning that a posture creates a feeling. If I sit like this all day long, this shape tells people I'm sad, I'm worried, I'm scared. This shape tells people I'm prepared, I'm confident. So if you're using shapes to communicate, you just happen to be letters, but you're not paying attention to them. You're not really focused on that. You're just worried about the word. And so I'm kind of changed the game a little bit. And I'm hoping that through this exercise, right? Because it's got to be in your body. When you start, even if we did this together, if I said, yell out, A, E, I, O, U. Do you see how many shapes I made with my face? Do you see how much articulation I had to make with my mouth? A lot of them even require me to smile. And if we're doing something or speaking in ways that are always the same, I'm using the same words, I'm using the same shapes in my face, then I'm creating the same feeling over and over again, living the same emotion. But when we start moving the face around, I literally start cueing now some classes where we yell through the vowels so that we can relax the jaw and the face and create space. Because even if you fake it, you do break the meridian through the jaw that actually allows the body to create more chemistry that matches the shape. And again, tangent, but that's how I feel about words these days.
Mike, I know your brain is spinning. Anything?
No, fascinating way of looking at that, Fernando. That's amazing concepts that you're stringing together, and quite frankly, really haven't heard much of that before in my travels. It's fascinating. Good for you, man. That's really
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And if you don't know Mike well, but he's probably one of the most well-read people that I know. So that means a lot coming from him.
Honestly, I got goosebumps when you were saying that, Michael, because sometimes I get people and be like, that's so stupid and weird and crazy. And again, because they've never seen it or heard it or anything like that, sometimes it seems a little out of left field. But truth be told, that kind of stuff came to me when I was in a very scary, drowning middle of the ocean thing. And it's something that I talk about often. When you're really scared, and this is perfect word, scared is inherently in the past. Literally, the word is scared. It happened, right? So when you say I'm scared, you're literally, it's something sacred. If you just reprioritize, put the vowel first, it's sacred because that's how we actually grow. The body needs to be frightened by something, just like when you're little, you're scared of the dark, and then you're not scared of the dark. And then there's monsters, you're scared of them, and then you're not scared of them. And so we do things that actually scare us so that we can grow, so that we can move past the fear. And one of the things that, just like pain, sometimes people hit pain and then they stop. I'm never going to do that again. It hurts. Or that's scary. I'm not going to do it. That's when we stop growing. You know, the child can see growth. They're growing, their clothes are getting bigger, they're measuring their height. And then at some point we stop growing. And at that point is when we start feeling like more sad. Like all of a sudden we're not as happy as we were when we were kids because the growth is not so visible anymore. But we are growing. We grow emotionally. We go past things that fear. Literally, we get scared and then, you know what? I'm not scared anymore. And so the same thing is I get closer to things that scare me. I speak publicly in front of hundreds of people. Sometimes I'm terrified. I'm worried about it, but it's because I care. If you shorten the word scared and just get to the middle, I care. Okay, I care. That's why I'm scared. Okay, it's not a bad thing. Okay, I'm going to keep doing this. But if we see fear, see scared, and then, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's when we get sad. That's when we get, depressed because we want to get scared. It's part of being alive. We want to get scared and then we want to get past it. And we keep moving closer to fear. I heard that the buffalo didn't always have this tilt in the head. What happened is that they actually realized as a herd that if they tried to avoid the storm, they spent more time in it. So what they did was, as soon as they saw the storm, they put their heads down and they ran right through it. And they got on the other side way quicker. And so it's the same. It's like we can inherently learn from nature, from animals, from plants, from trees. We can learn from them. And if we study them enough, we can get one gem from each one. And that's why people drew pictures of the buffalo, man. That's why they're in caves, because they adopted this method to go right at it. That's the best way through it.
Oh, I saw live buffalo in Missouri this summer. They're amazing creatures. Just got to tell you, I've never heard that before either. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, super cool. I learned that recently too, and I loved it. Gave me chills.
You mentioned your keynote presentation for the Kearney School District. I'm pretty intimately involved in Kearney now for the last couple of years. So I was curious, what was that about, or how did that happen?
So again, ironically, I didn't want to do it. I reached out to this district because I wanted to do an assembly for high schoolers. I had been working on it for years and I was ready for that. But when I reached out, they said, hey, Fernando, we're already done planning for the students' curriculum, but we are looking for a keynote speaker for the faculty, 500 teachers. Do you want that job? And honestly, I was like, no, I'm terrified. I'm scared. These are people I know. These are my teachers. These are my friends, acquaintances, neighbors. And then I went to bed and woke up like, how can I turn that down? How can I turn that down? I wanted to talk to a couple of kids. Now I can talk to all of these teachers who will access hundreds of kids, thousands of kids. So I knew that initial fear was a good thing because it led me to work harder, to prepare quicker, and to really show gratitude to my teachers who, essentially raised me. I was raised outside of my house. If I stayed home and didn't have the input of teachers and coaches and other people's parents and all that other influence, I'm certain I wouldn't be here today. So my job was to inspire the teachers, to show my gratitude and let them know how important their jobs are, and to reignite their passion to teach. Because, I'm just one kid, I'm one student. And I was heavily impacted. My entire life was altered because of teachers. And it saddens me when I hear that like teachers are, frustrated with their job and legislatively, things are not going their way and that kind of thing. So I felt like really, really honored to have that, role. And it went so awesome. The rave reviews are still coming in, and they've asked me to do others. So hopefully I can do more of those.
And your presentation on the 22nd at Subforce, that's going to be what you talked about a little while ago with the letters and the words primarily?
So what I want to do is I want to small little breakdown, like to explain a little bit of what I just said, how kind of to diffuse the bomb of our words and start actually getting more familiar and more connected to each letter. So each letter is assigned a new meaning, and each letter has a 5-minute workout. So we're going to essentially be doing like a circuit through each letter. Some letters are breath exercises, some letters are more low impact, and some letters are, more intense. And I think, or my hope is that just like Mike was like, wow, that's really interesting. I've never seen that before. Now, here's a group of letters that I've seen my whole life that I really didn't pay any attention to unless I made a word out of them. That's the only time I paid attention to them. So if I can see something I've seen every day of my life and now see it different, that opens up a door. It's like now you can see you different. Everything is different. Everything has a whole nother world behind it. And that is what we need. We need to not be so boxed in anymore. We need to not be so scared. We need to not be so terrified of, getting sick by just leaving the house or getting on a plane or anything. We need to not be so fearful. And instead, we need to be curious and we need to be open. And this little, gimmick of seeing these letters in a whole nother way, being, A is air, E is earth, I is fire, circle is water, and then you're inherent. You're a part of the elements. You have to be here. You are needed. You're not small. You're not useless. You are part of the thread of fabric. We can't exist without each other. And so I think our letters are actually a really great blueprint to mapping out how important each little stage is. And we've been bypassing them to just make words, but we haven't spent enough time with each one. And I think once we do that, because those letters, even though other languages use, put them in other directions, but they're the same characters. They're the same, just like numbers. We're all using them. And so I hope we feel that not only is it going to be a great workout, but it's going to be a door and unlocking a door. And that's going to be October 22nd at Subforce. I haven't nailed down a time, probably like 5:30, but it's a Sunday evening and it'll be like a 3-hour workshop. And I'll be posting about it for sure.
Yeah, that day I'll be in Philadelphia for Hayden's league championship, but I'm hoping I'll be back. I really want him to go too. Probably a tall order to ask Kellen to go. He has a soccer game that afternoon too, but I'm going to see what I can pull off.
You got it. Talk to me. Maybe we'll make it later.
No, don't do that. That's bed. I'd be in bed by then. Come on.
Oh, that's true. You go to bed early.
Yeah. So, Mike, do you have anything? I just wanted to round it out with Fernando, but do you have any final thoughts or comments?
No, it's I'm just thinking one of the certifications I took was from it was called Enlifted Coaching, and they talk about languaging and things of that nature, and what just that door that you're talking about, Fernando, the difference between, you said, fear and then curious. just the wording itself. It's the same energetically, but it's looking at it in a different way. It's the same as saying I'm anxious and I'm excited. It's the energetic is the same. It's just looking at it from that slightly different angle that allows for growth. It allows for, basically, if you want to get down to it, the evolution of who we are. So I really appreciate you coming on. It's great getting to know you. That's brilliant. Fully enamored with what you're saying. Good stuff, man.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, Michael.
How can and I've been enamored with you for 10 years. You're like my male crush, you know that.
Love it. Romance.
What how can so we know you're going to be posting October 22nd, but I know you do personal coaching, training, more the mental side of things. Like if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, I mean, they can get in touch with me and I could hook you guys up, but is there another way too?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my website is probably the easiest, fernrabbit.com. Or, I'm pretty active on Instagram, fernrabbit22. And, Facebook is just my name, Fernando Coelho. And that's pretty much the best way.
All right. Well, go take care of your son at Sub for us, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you around, Fernando. But thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys so much for taking the time and for wanting to talk to me.
Thanks so much, Fernando. Great to meet you, man.
Likewise.
Take care. Bye now.